Hey everybody, I'm Shelly Palmer and welcome to Web3 Wednesday. I am so glad to have everyone here. Welcome to YouTube Live. A couple things when we start today, discord.gg/Shelly Palmer. That's our new Discord server. It's not that new, but we decided to start to go deep into Discord because, as we all know, a DAO's definition is a Discord server with a shared wallet. We're not looking for a share your wallet, but we are looking for share your time. So if you could just hang out with us at Discord, it's discord.gg/Shelly Palmer. The more of you that are there, the happier this server is going to be. We're going to use it to replace PGX, our private social network, which we're thinking about shutting down in a couple of weeks because, to be fair and honest, as a private social network, it's awesome, but it would be much more fun to have a big bad Discord server. So we're going to move everybody over from pgx.tech to Discord and see how we all do. So it's here on the screen, discord.gg/Shelly Palmer. It's a little hard to find that server if you don't if you just go to Discord, which is why I think the vanity URL is going to help. So please meet us there. Hello, Kenny Solomon. Hey, Michael Port. Hey, Justin McClug. Of course, you know the chat's where it's at here at Web3 Wednesday. So tell us who you are, where you are, what you do, and of course feel free to chat with each other because that's the best part of this whole thing. It's also an Ask Me Anything Wednesday, so whatever it is you want to know, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here to talk about. The things that interest you, we're going to cover a lot today. There's been a lot in the news, so we're going to jump right in. One of the most interesting things that has happened over the last few weeks, you might not think is related directly anyway to the world of Web3. You can't copyright AI created art in the US. This has been an issue for quite a while. This idea about, can you copyright something created by AI? And if not, then what can you copyright? So there's been an ongoing suit, and this suit has been fairly interesting. There's a guy named Dr. Stephen Thaler, and he used some AI to create this. This thing is called, what's it called? The Fruits of, no, hold on, wait, it has a name. I don't know the name of this piece of art. It's like Gates to the something or other. And we tried to get this copyrighted. It's completely created by AI. Now, the problem is that the Copyright Office is like, it needs to be the fruits of intellectual labor. It needs to have the human mind involved. It needs to be created by a human being. Must be produced by a machine, cannot be produced by a machine or mere mechanical process. So if there's a lack of intervention or creative input from a human author, it is not copyrightable in the United States. Where does that leave generative NFTs that are completely created by machine? You could say, well, you had to start with something. You had to start with a bored ape. You had to start with a drunken flamingo. You had to start with whatever you started with, and maybe a human being drew that. But why? Couldn't I just say to GPT-3, give me a Martian made out of avocados, and now all of a sudden I have, oh, thank you, Joey. It's a recent entrance to paradise is the name of this particular NFT. A recent entrance to paradise. Well, that's great. This is completely created by machine, but my point is, that if you generated 10,000 NFTs that was completely AI generated, is that not copyrightable? What's weirder yet is that in Australia, you can patent an invention that was completely made by machine. So now we've got the Patent Trademark Office in Australia going, sure, sounds fine. And you've got the Copyright Office, part of the PTO, the Patent Trademark Group in the United States, the U.S. Copyright Office, saying, no, you can't. I don't know how you feel about this, but super confused IP law worldwide based on what you can and can't do with machine-assisted creation sounds like a recipe for disaster, especially in a world where human-machine partnerships are so crucial to productivity. So I do a piece of art and I have a machine do 50 versions of it. That's copyrightable. The machine does the art and all 50 versions of it. That's not copyrightable. Huh? That makes no sense to me. Hey, Bob Sopko. Hey, Chick Fox Grover. How are you? And Charlie from Detroit. Nice to see you. Jason, Joey, glad you're all here. Lisa Schwab, welcome. So, yeah, I'm really concerned about this. I know it doesn't feel like it's directly 100% related to NFTs, but it is. And it's specifically related to art-based NFTs because as goes copyright law and intellectual copyright law. So, here intellectual property law. So, here's the thing. The NFT will confirm and be used to confirm and validate my ownership. So I own it, but I don't have copyright protection for it. Or I don't own it, and there is no copyright protection for it. Or I just have the rights to right-click it and say I have the original copy of it, even though it's not a copyrighted work, it can still have value because I have the original copy of it. These are some questions that I think this particular story shines a bright light on. And it specifically shines a bright light on it because of what went down last week at our friends at OpenSea. $1.7 million worth of NFTs. Not a lot of money in the NFT world, after all. We're used to seeing NFTs in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, but $1.7 million of NFTs got scammed off of OpenSea. Now, most people think this was a phishing attack, and in fact it was. At least it's been called out as a phishing attack. The thing I want to go over today is what that actually means. So there were roughly 32 OpenSea users who ended up signing an incomplete contract. They were phished. It was definitely a phishing attack. So they got some piece of social engineering. They got a link. They got an email. They got something somewhere. And they clicked and they signed a contract that left the entire bottom of the contract open to be filled in by the scammers. And the hackers got 254 NFTs off of this, valued roughly at $1.7 million. So there's a really good tweet by, I don't even know how to pronounce this, at Nesotual, Nesotual, I don't know, it's a made up word or whatever. But anyway, this at Nesotual, this particular Twitter handle has a brilliant explanation of what exactly happened, right down to the how it went down. And it was clearly a phishing attack, and it was clearly people who didn't understand that they were signing a contract they should not have signed with their digital wallet, and it allowed the hackers to basically drain their accounts, which the hackers apparently did only to the tune of $1.7 million. So the first lesson of the OpenSea NFT debacle is read the contracts that you're signing. Now, you're going to say to me that in a software wallet, it's hexadecimal or JSON string gobbledygook and you can't understand it. It's unreadable. And I'm going to say you're absolutely right. You're 100% right. So there are some wallets like the Grid Plus Lattice where you can see on the screen an interpretation of the contract. Not always. Sometimes it's gobbledygook. And certainly in a Trezor Model T or in a Ledger Nano, you're just going to see tiny screen after tiny screen of basically nonsense numbers. Really hard for you to understand, which means that you just have to be careful what you're clicking on. There's no defense against this particular kind of phishing attack from the user side. You'd have to be incredibly sophisticated to not have fallen for it. Well, one of the people who did fall for it was a guy named Timothy McKimmy, McKimmy. And Timothy McKimmy is the proud owner of this Bored Ape. This is Bored Ape number 3475. And Timothy McKimmy had this stolen from him, a few weeks ago. Except this isn't it. I'm sorry, on Saturday. Except this isn't the actual NFT. This is Bored Ape Polygon 3475. It's selling for 0.0059 ETH. This is not the real NFT. This is a copy of the NFT. And it's clearly, if you look at the top there, it says Bored Ape Polygon Club. You went looking for it. You wouldn't know this isn't the one unless you really looked a little hard. Then you realize, well, wait a minute, what's all this story? Here's the real one. The real one, 3475. You can see at the top, it says Bored Ape Yacht Club, and it's got the little blue checked verified Bored Ape Yacht Club verification circle. Here, this was what happened before the hack. He had it out there for 225 ETH, which at the time was roughly 500 something thousand dollars. Today, when I went there, what I saw was this. This is a suspicious activity label at the top. It's the transactions on this particular Bored Ape have been halted, and it's just sort of sitting in limbo on OpenSea. So this is the real one, and they've identified it. They know what wallet it's in. They know a lot about what's going on here, but what they haven't done is been able to return it to its rightful owner. Now, the reason they haven't been able to return it to its rightful owner is because it's been moved and the NFT is sitting on a blockchain completely, absolutely minding its own business in a new wallet. Which brings to mind, where was that NFT? What was that NFT? What is an NFT? And what exactly has gone on here? You had a Bored Ape on the blockchain. Clearly, you are the owner. You sign a digital contract, which you didn't mean to sign, and someone gets into your wallet and now creates a transaction that moves it to their wallet. How can we fix this? Well, first way you could fix it is, it's just a JPEG. You could right-click it, give it a new name, put it back in your wallet and say, this is, OpenSea can do a little bit of magic there and invalidate the one NFT and validate the new one. But wait, what? No, that can't happen. That doesn't make any sense. So what remedies would Timothy McKimmey have? After all, this is a deregulated, decentralized environment. OpenSea does have some semblance of Know Your Customer, although I don't think it's the official full boat Know Your Customer. You do have to sign up and make yourself known, but you can mint all the free NFTs you want on OpenSea, and it's a pretty Wild Westy kind of place. So what actually has happened here, and what is Timothy McKimmey's recourse? Well, Mr. McKimmey decided he would go to the Southern District of Texas on February 18th, and he filed a lawsuit. And the lawsuit says that OpenSea's vulnerability has allowed others to enter through its code and force the listing of an NFT. That was through no fault of the NFT owner. Okay, security vulnerability. An outside party illegally entered through OpenSea's code. Okay, I like that. That's fine. And then he goes on to say that the damages, which he's suing for $1 million, although the NFT didn't cost anywhere near $1 million, the damages are because of his rarity. And he points out in this lawsuit, as I'm reading, that his Bored Ape is more rare than Justin Bieber's. Justin Bieber's Bored Ape is number 3001, and its rarity rank is only 53.66, which makes it the 9,777th most rare, meaning not rare at all, and that went for $1.3 million. So therefore, his Bored Ape, which is significantly more rare, should be worth at least $1 million. Now, this isn't funny in any way, because this is real money that real people have lost. And the ironic part of this, from my perspective, is that we talk about the promise of Web3, and we talk about the value proposition being that we can share in the value we create, and the decentralized nature of working in a trustless world. We're empowered by blockchain. We are empowered by smart contracts to conduct business in a trustless world. And when that works out in our favor on Uniswap or SushiSwap, where we're on a DEX and we've just lent some people against our USDT or USDC at a 20% interest rate overnight, and we picked up X dollars. It's like, wow, this is amazing. I'm in a decentralized world where there's no regulatory and the SEC is not here and the IRS isn't here, and I'm having a great time. When my NFT gets ripped off, I go running to a court of law, a court of competent jurisdiction in the Southern District of Texas, to go and take my deregulated, decentralized NFT and get it back. Really? You can't have it both ways. You just can't. So I'm not 100% sure that our friend here is going to come up with the reality, anything other than a reality check. Timothy McKimmy, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I'm going to follow this lawsuit with great interest because it's filed. It is probably not going to go anywhere, but I'd love to see what happens, because if OpenSea is liable for this, that's one really big deal. If they aren't, that's also a big deal. How exactly do you hold on to your NFT, and what exactly is it? I know what the contract says. The smart contract on the blockchain says that this particular transaction guaranteed that at that moment, Mr. McKimmy owned that NFT. But the NFT that he owned is a JPEG. Add a specific URL or URI somewhere. It's sitting somewhere on the internet. Right-clickable. I found 99 copies of it. Somebody else took it and put it up here in, was this the one? Yeah, this is the one here where this is the Polygon version, right? Yeah, Beyond. Yeah, Polygon Club. So this is a completely fake version of it. Is it fake? This is the same JPEG. That is exactly the same JPEG. There's nothing about that JPEG that's any different. You tell me. Kind of fun. While we're thinking about kind of fun, I'd love to introduce you to medacademy.xyz. This is our new training facility where you can completely risk-free and totally for free go and learn everything you want to learn about creating a wallet, getting some test currency, getting some test ETH, minting NFTs, understand rarity, understand metadata, understand the entire world of Web3 in a risk-free environment, and it's free of charge. We're very excited about putting this together. We've got some test dummies that you can, NFTs that you can go and play with, and we are super excited. So it's medacademy.xyz. It's soft launching right now. We're beta testing a bunch of things about it right this minute. So if you want to come and just beta test, we'll get you into the dev site, and I guess I could say to you without any fear or risk, dev.medacademy.xyz will put you into the dev site, and anybody who's listening here is clearly interested in this stuff. So go there. We got about the first 4 chapters we're playing with. It's not ready for launch. We're going to launch it soon. But if you go to dev.medacademy.xyz and go through the process of signing up, and you'll see where we're going with this. There'll be 17 chapters when it launches, and or I should say eventually. And we're very, 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 very excited about it. So yeah, please join us there. It should be a lot of fun. Going on with the news. Oh, let's see. Don't we have some questions here? Hold on. Let's just see. What do we got here for questions? At some point, the AI is the result of human input, isn't it? Oh, going back to our AI question. Is it? That's a really wonderful question. I don't know, Charlie. Is that right? Sure, if you build, if you are a human being who creates an AI and you build a training set and you train the AI and it comes up with something, I guess at some level you are the creator of the project. But could I argue that if my son creates a piece of music, even though I created my son and trained him musically, it's not my piece of music, it's his? And you're going to say he's sentient, and I'm going to say, I don't know. Is the computer sentient? I don't think so. But what does that actually mean, and how does that work? How does that totally work? So yeah, very, very difficult to answer that question. What I do know is that we are going to see more and more and more generative art that is really some kind of human-machine partnership, and ultimately you're not going to be able to tell what's what. You know, if you're watching just the Book of Boba Fett just ended this season. I'm not going to do any spoilers here, but they bring back Luke Skywalker as a 30-year-old, and he's a Jedi, and he's training the child, Grogu. And they used deepfakes technology to de-age Mark Hamill. They're going to put a different actor there, I think, next season. But for this, they used really the state-of-the-art deepfake technology. A lot of people thought it looked pasty and fake, and he had one expression, and there's a lot of criticism about it. That was completely created by a computer. He was de-aged by a computer. You just as easily could have taken a fully computerized face and put it on a body. You didn't need to use Mark Hamill. You could have created any character, and then that would have been an AI-created character. Is that to say that that work is not copyrightable? Well, certainly the story is copyrightable, the set's copyrightable, there's Form PA in the Copyright Office, which is performing arts. But this is for copyright lawyers and legal scholars to debate right now. The intellectual property laws in the United States have undergone a couple of radical shifts in the last few years. Started a while back when the Disney organization wanted to extend the copyright on Mickey Mouse, and they changed the copyright law, and they effectively did that as a corporation. And then it got a little weird when copyright trolls came to power. And during the Obama administration, a new copyright law was enacted that was more like the international copyright law with respect to first to the Copyright Office, and it actually, I think, inhibited, although it wasn't intended to, I think it inhibited small inventors, and it empowered big organizations that have lots of internal scientists under NDA or inventors under NDA. And I think individual inventors got hurt because if you disclose your invention before filing, then, which is hard to do because you don't know without talking to your peers if you're really onto something. I'm not sure that the copyright law is in the best shape it's ever been in, and I'm not sure that the patent trademark laws are in the best shape they've ever been in, but this is a really important time to have this discussion. And if you're wondering about it, it would be wonderful to get together to do that. We can either have a workshop or bring in some legal peeps. It gives me a good opportunity to talk for a second about the Newhouse Advanced Media Lab series. If you think this is a good topic for that, we're going to bring together corporate, government, and academia. So maybe we could do a workshop. If you're interested, just shoot me an email. The way to reach me is Shelly@shellypalmer.com, or you can go on our Discord server and talk about it there, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to push the Discord server. So a good opportunity for everyone to get together and talk about, what does it look like? What is the future we're trying to invent, and what do we want the future to look like? Copyright laws aren't sacrosanct. They're there to be changed, and they certainly need to evolve with the times. So it would be very good for all of us to try and get involved. So moving on, there's a big story. Oh, wait, there's another question. Let me think. Hold on. Let's see what this question says. What do I think? Do I think there needs to be an override provision in the Web3 to be able to return crypto or NFT tokens? This question is amazingly good. Thank you, Ettore. Good question. Do I think? Wow. First of all, I do think a lot, and I think about this a lot. The first thing that comes to mind is, why would you need to ask this question? I'm asking you personally. It's rhetorical. Why would we need to ask this question? Well, the reason we need to ask this question is because in a Web3 world, we are theoretically trustless, meaning I own my own currency. I am my own bank. I am my own security guard. I am my own army. I am my own lawyers. I am my own judge and jury. It's anarchy. There's no rules whatsoever. There's just buyer beware. Go out there, protect yourself at all times. It's like a heavyweight boxing match for sure. So the fact that we need to ask this question is fascinating. The world we live in right now, we are very lucky. I mean, people don't, everybody's divided among political lines, and people are fighting with each other all the time and screaming at the moon, and everybody's getting all mad at each other, and that's all great. But at the end of the day, We live in a fairly litigious society, which means we have the rule of law. We can go to a court and we can say to a judge, we've been wronged, and we can file a lawsuit. We can be represented by counsel. And you might not like lawyers, you might like them, that's up to you, but you can get one. And if someone does something to you that is outside societal norms or the laws of the land, you can go and sue them. You have redress in a court of competent jurisdiction. It's just the way it works. You have insurance policies you can buy. So, and there are some insurance policies that are bought for you. The FDIC insures, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation insures your bank deposits up to $100,000. Most people don't have $100,000 in a bank account. So if you have $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 and your life savings is sitting in a bank account and you're working an hourly job and raising a family and something happens to the bank, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation is going to give you back your money up to $100,000. No questions asked. The bank went belly up. Here's your money back. When your crypto exchange goes belly up or gets hacked and your coins happen to be part of what's hacked, that's it. They're gone. You're not getting them back. They are toasted. If you have a hot wallet and someone gets your keys, they get your coins. It's done. If we're going to have a decentralized world, we're going to have to learn to be responsible for our decentralized world. It's that simple. Now, is there such a thing as Web 2.5? Is there some middle ground where it's not the Wild West and it's not living in a world of Big Brother? That's a really interesting set of questions on their own. Right? China just, started selling the digital yuan to people who came over for the Olympics, whatever foreigners were over there. They have a CBDC, a central bank digital currency. The digital yuan is the same as a paper yuan. It's on a blockchain that's owned by the government of China. It's in no way decentralized. It's fully centralized. It's their currency. They have complete knowledge of whose wallet it is and what's in your wallet. Not to steal a phrase. That's not a world I want to live in under any circumstances. Sure, Uncle Sam can know what's in my bank account. How do they do it? They go to a court. They ask a judge to subpoena my records. They don't get to look. They could ask nicely, I could tell them, but if they want to look for their own purposes, they need to have probable cause. Fourth Amendment, folks. So, now what? What does this world look like? How does that work? It's a really good set of questions. And by the way, none of them are answered. Scott Moss says no override provision. It turns it into a credit card type transaction. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. In fact, while we're on that subject, Scott Moss, thank you for bringing that up. We hear a lot. We hear a ton about settlement speed. The Bitcoin blockchain can only handle 5 to 7 transactions per second. Ethereum is a little bit better, a couple dozen. And then we know that VisaNet, the worldwide network from Visa, the charge card, the credit instrument, as they like to call themselves, or credit card, can do something like 2,700 transactions a second in practice, but I think it's tweaked up to, or they say spec'd up to 65,000 transactions per second. The difference between a Bitcoin transaction and a Visa transaction are profound. And to Scott Moss's point, I'm going to tell you why. When I do a Bitcoin transaction, it can take 5-10 minutes for it to be confirmed. And once about the 6th or 7th confirmation on the Bitcoin mainnet, on the Bitcoin blockchain, once I get there, it's done. That transaction is verified by proof of work. Whether it takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, doesn't matter. It's done. Fully settled. Irrevocable, as we're learning here, right? It's done. When you go into Target or Burger King or anywhere, Best Buy, and you put down your Visa card, it settles in your mind in fractions of a second. Your credit card is either approved or denied. But that transaction's not settled. It's an optimistic settlement, meaning that it's approved or denied. The card's not fraudulent, or at least they don't believe it is. 3 weeks from now, if you go back and say, I'm unhappy, Visa will charge back the merchant. They have an ongoing relationship with the merchant, and they have the power to charge back. it's not settled. If the merchant's not even going to get the money for either, it could be 1 day, 3 days, or 7 days, depending on the deal the merchant has and how they're accepting credit cards, what settlement company they're using to settle their transactions. But even if they get the money, that transaction's not done, because you can always go back. You want to return something at Amazon? You return it. You're getting your money back. The merchant's getting charged back. These are not settlements. These are optimistic settlements. Conversely, on Ethereum, on the Ethereum mainnet, on Polygon, which is layer 2 over Ethereum, on Bitcoin, on any blockchain, whether it takes a minute or 45 minutes to settle, when it's settled, it's done. So we really can't compare 2,700 optimistic transaction settlements per second to call it a few dozen, because these are not apples and apples. One is an optimistic speed that assumes that there is redress on both sides, but mostly on the side of the consumer. Power lays there. So we're talking about the promise of Web3 being, I'm going to empower a consumer. I'm going to be the all-powerful consumer. The man doesn't have any control over me, which I happen to love, by the way. If you read the Satoshi Nakamoto white paper, it's sort of all about taking control of money. But you have control of money. Go buy something on Amazon. You can return it right now. You can return it a week from now. You can return it broken. They're probably taking it back. It's unbelievable how powerful consumers are depending on the merchant. So the idea that you're more powerful in a Web3 environment is correct, but what is that power and what is the cost of that power? The cost of that power is that you must understand no keys, no coins. So if you're leaving your coins on an exchange, or if you're leaving your coins in a wallet that does not belong to you, like you leave it at Dapper Labs, as opposed to now you can take custody of your Top Shot NFTs. If you leave your coins or tokens somewhere that's not your wallet, you don't own them, and they are vulnerable. If they're in your wallet, meaning if you have your keys and the wallet, you have custody, and the transactions are assigned to your keys, not the keys of some custodian. Okay, now the burden is on you to protect your assets. These are your digital assets, whether they be NFTs or coins or tokens, crypto. So you've got your own crypto, you've got your own keys, you are your own security guard. Not everyone's ready to do that. We're going to have to come to grips with what that means. And what I believe is going to happen is somewhere in the middle between all this, right? There's Web 2, which is where we are. There's Web 3, which is where the promise is, where everything's decentralized and it's a free-for-all. But there's something in the middle, right? There's got to be something in the middle where corporations, where banks, where financial institutions are somehow involved, where the rule of law is sort of imposed. It's a strength and a weakness. And so that's oh, well, Tori, yes, you've just written that. It's a strength and a weakness. And I think we all have to come to grips with what that means. And, importantly, as many of you know, PGX is going away in a couple of weeks. So, if you're at pgx.tech, we love you to go to discord.gg/Shelly Palmer, and please just join the Discord server, and we'd love to have you there. I would be wrong if I didn't plug my little book, Blockchain, Cryptocurrency, NFTs, and Smart Contracts. But as we discussed a few minutes ago, Meta Academy is going to replace this book, and it's really where I want you to be. So, while I'd love you to look at the book, what I'd really love you to look at is metacademy.xyz, and just sign up there, and we will happily help you learn everything that we can possibly help you learn about Web3, NFTs, cryptocurrency, DAOs, the entire set of jargon. It's going to be there for you, and how to navigate it and what to do about it. And we're very excited about it. We have a few minutes left, and I want to cover this a little bit. State Department did a write-up. El Salvador made Bitcoin a coin of the realm a few months back. And they've been investing very heavily in Bitcoin. And there's a new law that was proposed by Jim Risch, a Republican from Idaho, Bob Menendez, Democrat, New Jersey, the ranking member and chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Bill Cassidy, Republican, Louisiana. Why? It's called the Accountability for Cryptocurrency in El Salvador Act, ACES. I love when they do that. Their goal is really simple. Get ahead of anything that could possibly destabilize the U.S. dollar or even challenge the U.S. dollar as the exchange currency of the world. That's what they're doing. They are so unbelievably scared, and they should be. So what we need to watch over the next few weeks goes like this. We need to watch the United States position on CBDCs, central bank digital currency, its own and the currencies of other countries. There are about 140 countries that are experimenting with or talking about issuing their own stable coins, which will be known as CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. They will be pegged in some way to the fiat currency of each country. So they should be interchangeable with their fiat currency and float on the money markets at exactly the same level of volatility that their existing currencies float. This will be very good for people who like to build liquidity pools. It will be very good for people who want to leverage fiat currency against cryptocurrency and play that game. If you don't know what a liquidity pool is or a yield farm is, please go Google and start to read. There are plenty of sites you can go deep on. I've got it in my book. You've got some stuff at shellypalmer.com, but there's so much stuff out there. There's great videos. Coin Bureau has some good videos on it. Just learn deeply about yield farming and about liquidity pools. You want to understand what DEXs are, decentralized exchanges. The most famous is probably Uniswap. You can just go to Uniswap and read the foundational principles of Uniswap, watch a couple of videos about what goes on in Uniswap, and you'll get a sense of how liquidity pools are used, how people are leveraging their fiat currency or their stable coins against cryptocurrencies that are more volatile. So stable coins, for those of you, again, just from a jargon perspective, theoretically all CBCs will be stable coins. A stable coin is pegged or otherwise attached to a fiat currency. Theoretically, a USDT or a USDC or a BUSD should have $1 behind each one. In practice, they don't. You need to learn about that as well. But the theory is that they are either pegged to or dollar for dollar attached to fiat currency. This adds an awful lot of liquidity capability and a lot of leverage and all kinds of financial product capability to the world of decentralized exchanges, because it's a way to get a crypto asset to become a fiat asset and vice versa. And people do charge handsomely for both of those things going on. Beware of yield farming, and be just as wary or wary of liquidity pools, because it's not for the faint of heart. But understand them. So where the United States falls out here, where they decide what a United States stablecoin looks like or CBDC looks like, is going to be interesting. We are waiting for Gary Gensler. We're waiting for Janet Yellen. We're waiting for Treasury, DOJ. We're waiting for SEC. We're waiting for all IRS to come out and tell us what's new, what's next, and what it means for our crypto. We don't really have a decent understanding of that yet. The one thing people have been talking about this week, and I guess I have to say before we leave this show, I should have said it up front, it's not financial advice. We're not offering financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Crypto is inherently risky. And if you're thinking about goofing around in cryptocurrency, please consult a licensed financial advisor, because that's not what I do here. But I am going to overstep my bounds a little bit and say that today, right this minute, Bitcoin is at 38,477. It's been closer to 30,000. It's been closer to 65,000 over the last 12 months. It's been all over the place. And right now it's at 38,477. What's interesting, if you watch, again, not financial advice in any way, if you closely watch what's going on with Bitcoin, it seems to be tracking the stock market pretty well, ups and downs. Not supposed to. Now, I'm not going to go into why it's not supposed to. I'm simply going to tell you it's not supposed to. I'd like you to go learn about why it's not supposed to from your licensed financial advisor. Why isn't Bitcoin, based on what Bitcoin is, why isn't it supposed to follow the Dow or the S&P? And once you understand for yourself why this is true, again, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, once you have an opinion about that, it's going to help you deeply understand what's going on in the world of crypto. Crypto, as I've always said on Web3 Wednesday, is not the end game here. Crypto is simply the exchange currency we're going to use for all of us to share in the value we create. It is nowhere near its final form factor. We do not know what the international crypto markets are going to look like. We do not know what central bank digital currencies are going to look like. We do not know. What we do know is that we have a way now to start to build new kinds of businesses. That's what we know. And here on Web3 Wednesday, what we're talking about is what those new businesses are going to look like. So what new marketing is going to look like? What new data gathering is going to look like? What does it mean to empower consumers? What does it mean to flip the script? What is learn to earn or engage to earn model? What does that model look like? I'm playing a video game, I'm earning. I'm watching content, I'm earning. I'm lending you a little bit of my hard drive. I'm lending you a little bit of my bandwidth. I'm lending you a little bit of my attention. And I am gathering some currency, which will be valuable to me either in the form of goods and services or discounts or real merchandise. It's hard to know where this is all going to go, but it's really exciting. So as I say each week, this is my absolute favorite time of the week because I get to just talk, and thank you for all these phenomenal questions and the immense amount of interesting stuff in the chat today. It's really great. This conversation continues at discord.gg/Shelly Palmer, where I hope you will go and I hope you will sign up. If you're not a Discord member, it's a cool place. If you are a Discord member, please come over to the server and hang out. Paige Mullis, need Web3 101 sources. Web3 101 sources can be found at shellypalmer.com. If you go to shellypalmer.com/blockchain, just add a /blockchain to shellypalmer.com. You will see all kinds of resources. We have a crypto resource page there. And again, Med Academy is probably the best crypto resource for everybody that we've got going on at the moment. We're very excited about it. We cannot wait to have all of you, join us there. So with that, I will say to you, look, thank you very much. Again, please, let's continue this conversation. We're going to keep it going every single day on Discord and, via email or on Twitter, anywhere you want to find us. If you got a crypto project, if you got a Web3 project, you got a blockchain project, an NFT project, reach out. Love to talk to you. It would be my pleasure to learn about what you're doing. People ask me why I'm taking this many meetings on blockchain and things Web3. I always say somebody passed on the Beatles 5 times before they got actually picked up by a record label. Your project, for all I know, your project is the next Beatles. So I'm totally interested in understanding it. Please reach out with whatever you're doing. With that, I will say have a fabulous week. Again, love the fact that you're here, and I hope to see you next Wednesday for another Web3 Wednesday. I'm Shelly Palmer. For everyone here at the Palmer Group, you guys take care.